And we're live. Okay. All right, guys, how you doing? This is Aaron Bennett. This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett, like I just stated. We do this every Wednesday night from 7 to 9 Central Time. Tonight, I have Tim with Excalibur Equipment on the show with me. He's out of Arizona. If you guys don't know who he is, well, then you've been living under a rock. He's out of Arizona. He's one of the premier engine builders in the United States, in my opinion. Most people do know who he is. Tim, we appreciate you coming on here and giving us your time tonight. Thank you. If you guys are joining us from TikTok, we highly recommend you go over and watch this on Facebook or YouTube. It's much more interactive there. You can see Tim. You can interact. You can hear the callers as well over there. We do appreciate our TikTok viewers, but again, this is a Facebook, YouTube-centric show. ByteDance is not quite as friendly to us as Meta is when it comes to incorporating this show. So if you want to be more interactive, we'll go over there. The number to call in, guys, is 573-422-4225. Again, we have Tim with Excalibur Equipment out of Arizona joining us tonight. So if you have always wanted to shout out to Tim, tonight's your night to do it for sure. Again, we appreciate him giving us his time. We should be here for at least a full 2 hours, maybe even go a little longer, depends on how blown up we get. Tim, buddy, we appreciate you coming on. Always enjoy watching your videos. You do amazing work, obviously. Yeah, it's what you're known for. I see you got a kit there in the back. We were just talking about that before we started the show. The kit in the background, you're balancing for me. Pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited about it. Tim was just sharing with me how much difference in weight there is on just this particular kit. And our difference from our lightest rod to our heaviest rod was, I think he said 26 grams. And we're pretty similar, right around that same grammage in our lightest to heaviest piston crown, which completely blew me away because if you think about it, you know, we're talking close to 50 grams that if you put that combination of the heaviest piston to the heaviest rod, and you put that combination together unknowingly, right? You're going to end up with a 50-gram difference from that rod piston combination to one of the other ones in the engine. So, Tim, what kind of difference are you seeing when you're balancing a kit?
You know, we're seeing a lot of positive results from it. Decreased vibrations, decreased gear train chatter, overall better performance, and customers they're a lot happier when they're going down the road or sitting there at idle and their mirrors aren't shaking. So we haven't seen any negative results from it whatsoever. Got a lot of cats and some ISXs and some X15s out there, and even guys that have been purchasing engine kits through me. They've been bringing connecting rods up and going ahead and balancing those up for them and setting their ring gaps and getting it all together for them. So when they go ahead and install it, they just grab cylinder kit 1, put it in 1, cylinder kit 2, and just get them together. I haven't had any complaints. You guys have been really happy with the outcome so far.
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense to me when we're talking potential. You know, if you just got the bad luck of combining just in the kit you have sitting there. I mean, in that kit, for all intents and purposes, could have easily went into an engine at my shop. You know, I'm not going to be doing the same job that you're doing, right? And I could have potentially put a combination together that is 50 grams different. And I mean, it just, there's so much centrifugal force in an engine that that what you're doing there, it just makes a lot of sense to me. You know, the kits that we're having made for us, part of the agreement that we have with the manufacturer of the parts is they're going to take the piston crowns and lot block them. So kits will get piston crowns that are all within like 3 to 5 grams of each other. You know, they're going to weigh them as they come out, and all the ones that weigh 56.98 or close to whatever it might be. They're going to push all those into one group, and they're going to group them for us. So we're going to have as close as you can get to a mass-produced balanced kit as a guy can get. The heavy end and the light end, and you're matching the rod beside it, heavy to light end, and so on and so forth. And that jig that you made is probably pretty beneficial in that process, I would guess.
It is. It does help out quite a bit to measure each end of it. Once you get them all calibrated up on there, which takes a little bit of time to find its happy spot, so to say, then you can get consistent results one after the other after the next. So, but it does take a lot of putting them on, taking them off, put them on, take them off, to get the same readings over time. But it's very, very, very time consuming. But on the other hand, it's also a lot of fun. It definitely is a lot of fun.
For sure. Guys over there on TikTok, if you want to hear Tim, you need to go over to Facebook or YouTube. That's where it streams live. That's you can hear Tim, you can hear the callers. It's much more interactive over there. If you guys want to call in, tell us any of your problems, see if we can help you out, or just want to talk to Tim or myself, the number's 573-422-4225, and you guys can be part of the show. So Tim and Aaron talking engines, I don't think it can get any better than this. I agree. It's a real pleasure to have Tim on here. Tim and I are kind of working together on a build that I'm doing here. I sent him a kit and some rods, and he's balancing them for me. And then when I get them back, I'm gonna do my little specialty. I'm gonna coat them all and build an engine out of it. We're kind of I'm doing an experimental engine all around. We're gonna be I actually was looking at my turbo today. We coated the inside, and I had a turbo coated inside and out factory done, and then I coated one in-house inside and out, and we're going to see how that holds up. And we're also coating all the valves on the cylinder head and also coating the bushings on the cylinder head. We've seen, if you guys watch my videos, you've seen the incredible results we've seen from coated bearings. And that last failure that we had, where the crank and everything was preserved because of those coated bearings, well, the cylinder head was the only thing that suffered. So, I'm putting two and two together. I'm like, if we would have coated the damn cylinder head, we would have had zero failure, right? So that's my next step is we're going to coat up some cylinder heads. We're going to have Duff and Diesel actually drive in the bushings for us just to make sure they don't get marred. While I'm having a bushing driver made with a rubber insert to make sure I don't mar the finish. So we got some big stuff coming up. What do you mean by Tim is going to balance the kit? You can find Tim on TikTok. You can see quite a few videos of him balancing kits, and that's where he's taking a rod and the piston crowns. And of course, he can correct me if I'm misrepresenting what he does, but you can have a rod that is, well, in the rods that I sent him, he from the lightest rod to the heaviest rod, I think he said it was 26 grams, right, Tim?
I think that's 26. Yeah, it was 26.
Yeah, 26 gram different from the lightest rod to the heaviest rod. Yeah, and something similar on the lightest to the heaviest piston crown. So we're talking like a 50 gram difference. So Tim is balancing them out so they all weigh the same. And that's what I mean by that. No, it wouldn't make more sense to coat the stuff and then send it out because it's just going to get handled a whole bunch more. Our coating process requires us to also take quite a bit of material off. Everything gets shot peened. They get pretty rough handled. And I would rather have them balanced before we rough handle them. So anyway, guys, we got a caller. We'll go ahead and take them. See what we got here. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, man. So I'm looking at buying a K100. It's kind of maybe a little off topic, but it's got a big cam 400 in it. And I'm planning on hauling cattle with it, but I'd like to get it completely in frame. What's your thought on mechanical motors in this generation of truck? And can you guys still make money with mechanical motor to keep its costs down? or is he better off going with a E-Series Caterpillar or something like that?
Tim, go ahead. I'm gonna try and let you answer as much as I possibly can. Everyone gets to hear me every week. Did you hear the caller?
I heard him. I heard him. You know what I've been noticing with just my customer base and stuff, the guys that are running the older mechanical engines pretty much stay in town. They're, you know, local dump trucks or pretty much vocational stuff. But anybody doing any long distance applications, they've been going with newer trucks or cats, you know, pretty much Cummins DD15 and 13s, just because a lot of times we find the older mechanical engines, a lot of the younger techs just aren't really as familiar with them as you know, a lot of the newer computerized engines are out there in vehicles. So I guess it just depends on what you want to use as a business owner. You know, if you're more partial to older mechanical engines, that would be the way to go. Or that's kind of my answer to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second with Tim there. Can you hear that? Can you hear Tim?
Tim's pretty hard to understand.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for me to understand too. I think it's because he's talking on a earbud, but you might try just talking straight to your computer, Tim. I can hear you, but I can also adjust how sensitive my headset is. But you are pretty hard to hear. I got you turned all the way up on the Roadcasters, so I can't make it be any louder. So
Okay.
you might try just switching to the computer. It might work better.
Okay. Let me turn these earbuds off here, and we'll try that. See what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we hear me there?
But while he's doing that,
wait a minute.
yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay, let me turn my volume up here.
So
there we go.
One thought about that mechanical engine, especially the you know, like the big cam, like you're talking about, an engine like that, they are incredibly affordable to maintain as far as the cost of parts go. But Tim's got a very valid point. There's not very many places that can even do anything with those. That's number one. Number two is they're very underwhelming. I mean, if you're going to go haul cattle and stuff like that, you're going to be sorely disappointed at the performance of that engine. You're going to be the last guy everywhere you go. You know, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that. It's not like you can just keep turning it up. And if you do turn it up, then you're going to be in somebody's like Tim's shop fixing it because you've melted the pistons out of it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, even stepping up to an N14 would be dramatically better option than running one of them old mechanical N14s or you know, big cams or whatever.
Yeah.
My whole reasoning for wanting to do mechanical is I've kind of been wrenching on shit, you know, around the farm and stuff, and it's something I can work on where I don't need the scanners and all that stuff. So I guess I'll have to look a little more into it.
Yeah, but Tim's point's super valid. The fact that you're trying to get away from people being able to use a scanner is going to bite you in the ass when you're out over the road, you know, and no one can help you out.
Right. Yeah, I guess you can't bring your whole shop with you, right?
Yep. All right, brother, man. Well, good luck with that venture, okay?
Thank you much.
Yep, have a good night. Question in the comment here for you, Tim. The gentleman asked, Tim, do you use floor dry under your builds before or after for a better assembly? Or stay dry, whatever stay dry is. I think he's talking about floor dry.
Oh, no, I use, I've got these, I use a lot of pig mats. I use pig mats, get moving blankets, though those work really well for throwing them underneath the trucks, you know, to collect coolant and whatnot. Well, when I'm doing an in-frame or even one that's on the build stand, we get those little kid swimming pools you see me using. They're the pink ones. They're cheap and they work really well to collect all your oil and dirt and grease or whatever's going to fall on the floor. Because I'm sure a lot of you guys that follow me know I'm a neat freak. I really don't like being dirty. I spent over 25 years doing heavy equipment on-site field repairs for all phases of heavy line, light line stuff, and I don't like being dirty. I don't like laying in dirt anymore unless I have to. So, and plus keeping particulate matter out of the air and in the shop and being airborne and landing on internal components is a big concern. So no, I don't use floor dry in here. We go through, like I said, use the little pools and pig mats and stuff like that. But plus, it's so damn hot here. You're always covered in sweat. You get it all over you. Forget it. I'm in a bad mood all day long.
Oh yeah, for sure. Somebody asked, do the pools have stencils on them that say this just got expensive?
No. No, just the crane does, and it's kind of a funny story on that one. Man, guys, there's no happy medium with the stenciling on the crane. Guys either love it or they hate it, and it's really not on there to be obnoxious. Whenever you go on site, if you're pulling an engine or doing something, when that crane comes out, it's usually for a major catastrophe. Like, I'm not going to use it to lift a mud flap hanger back on. So after hearing years and years of, meeting guys at their yards or on a construction site and go, oh, we got to take the engine out or need to pull the transmission out of this unit. They go, oh, Jesus Christ, this just got expensive. So I figured, why not? Like, there's some tow truck guys I have in town, good friends of mine, and one of them has what's in your wallet on his Stinger that comes out. So I thought, why not? Just be a little conversation piece. So that's kind of how that thing started.
We got another caller here. We got a few questions. But some of these guys, if your questions are pretty extensive, like Mark Hotchkiss, call in, man. If you want us to answer a question like that, that's what this show's for. We want to benefit as many people as possible. So, guys, if you're joining us on TikTok, which I see quite a few people have, if you go over and watch this Hack Nation live on Facebook or YouTube, you can hear Tim. It's a much more interactive experience. You can hear the caller as well. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, boss? I'm calling you from California. Got an issue with my truck. You ready to listen to it?
Yeah, go for it, man.
So I've been trucking for quite some time, and I just picked up a truck. It's a used 2022 model 389. A really nice truck, man. And it's a custom truck. It has an X15 motor in it. And during the winter, I was driving in the rain, and this thing failed all injectors. Well, it started from a real loud knocking sound. I kind of figured it's the injector. Got it towed to Peterbilt. They replaced the injector, but they were saying it's still misfiring, and they charged me like $4,000. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it back to town and get it figured out there, because they were talking about overhauling the engine, but they weren't sure. So I brought it back in town. A buddy of mine, he's been a mechanic for quite some time. He did a bunch of diagnostics to it, checked around, and he came to a conclusion that water had gotten into the fuel. And like when we pulled out a sample, it was like maybe 80-70% fuel, the rest was water. And that's what caused the injectors to fail. So we replaced all the injectors, and after that, truck started running real good. I mean, everything was doing normal. After a couple of thousand miles, a light came on for the crankcase, and then obviously I shut off the truck, restarted it, because it wouldn't, it loses its power. And when I restarted it, I started hearing this clicking noise, like tick, 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 And so I let it sit there for a night, started in the morning, and it started driving fine, but it kept making this ticking noise. And from there on, man, this ticking noise, it doesn't want to go away. Sometimes it's a click. Sometimes it'll get louder. And the way this clicking works is, so as I throttle up, it goes tick, 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 tick. And then once it's full throttle or pulling on the hill, the noise goes away. And this shit's fucking bothering me, man. Like, it's there, and it doesn't want to fucking go away. And I'm still dealing with it. And that's after replacing all the injectors. Got a dyno done, checked each injectors, by doing cutouts. Everything, the blow-by, everything came good. The dyno guy said, if you brought this thing to see if you could buy it, I would definitely recommend this engine. Engine is doing fine, not burning any oil, cooling is not going down, but this ticking noise, it's there.
Okay.
That's my question. What could be the tick? What could be that noise, man?
Well, let's let Tim have a shot at answering that.
Gosh, ticking noise. You gotta ask your mechanic if he checked all your exhaust gaskets, made sure, 'cause sometimes blown exhaust manifold gasket will sound like a ticking noise, or have them pull your valve cover and take a look at the cam, see what your cam and rollers look like. Because I've seen, lots of Cummins come through here where
where the manifold is.
Yes.
Yeah, where the manifold is, look for some black soot in between where the manifold and the head is. Look for any types of leaks there, and then go ahead and pull your valve cover and look at the cam on the top end. Because in fact, last week I had a really interesting one come in. It was a Cummins, and it had a weird chirping noise every now and again. It sounded like a Tweety bird in the engine. And turns out it was a wiped out cam, and the engine actually still ran smooth, had power, not burning any fluids or oil or anything. But the cam was just destroyed up inside that engine.
Let me throw a thought.
Okay,
Let me throw a thought at it. I'm just going to build on what Tim said just a little bit. Yeah, I agree with him that chirping noise that you're hearing, the ticking noise, could most certainly be an exhaust manifold gasket, and that's exactly what it would sound like. But you did make a statement in there that it goes away at the highest RPM, and kind of go back to what Tim was just.
It's gone. I mean, climbing the hills, you don't hear it. When I'm at a cruising speed, I can definitely hear it.
Right. So that makes it much more viable that it's the camshaft that's causing that problem, because once you're at a high enough RPM, that camshaft is spinning so fast. I see this a lot all the time, where the truck will smooth out at a higher RPM because the cam's going so damn fast that it's just kind of missing the it's riding over the damage in the lobe or damage in the pin and roller part of it. So it's probably inside of your valve train. It's probably the camshaft. I just about bet you money.
Okay, yeah, because my buddy of mine, he was recommending, I've kind of done everything. The next thing I can do is, take off the head and, obviously look inside the engine. But he's like, it's driving, might as well drive it. He's like, what if we pull the head apart? He's a real good buddy of mine, so
Well, he's not that.
He's been fucking with it this whole time. Yeah.
I want to go.
No, for some time.
I want to go back to when I had James Daniels on the show. He said something a few times that's kind of stuck with me. Pretty much every guy that called, he would point out, how much diagnostic have you done? And your buddy's suggesting pulling off the head. Well, your buddy hasn't pulled off the valve cover yet, and he's like putting the cart way before the horse, right? So, don't let your buddy take you for a ride, right? Let's you shouldn't be
right. I agree.
You shouldn't be repairing anything until you have identified the problem.
Okay.
So,
sounds right. Sounds right.
And you don't need to hire anybody to check out your exhaust gaskets really close. And like Tim was saying, you're going to see black, right? If your exhaust manifold is leaking anywhere, it's going to show a telltale sign of black where it's escaping. It will turn it black around that gasket. If you don't see anything like that, pull that valve cover off. Anybody, my 7-year-old girl could pull the valve cover and look at it, right? And just look really close at your valve train and make sure you don't have any damage. Don't pay someone to do something like that.
Yeah, you mean the cover up top? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so he did that. He even did he did the tuning again. So when I buy the truck, I usually get a tuning done. Make sure everything's lined up, and then he checks out each valve, that could be making the noise. He's been to that point. Because he even ran it with the cover off to kind of like gushing out oil right there, so to see where the noise is coming from.
Let me.
So from there he can see it.
Let me make it quick.
I'm not too familiar with like inside of the engine, so
right.
From there you can see the cam. Then I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to make a suggestion. First of all, you said he looked at the camshaft and all that, and then he did some tuning to your ECM. He should know right away that this is a problem.
No, not tuning to the ECM. He did a tune-up, adjusting the valve and whatnot.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. No, we didn't fuck with no tuning, nothing like that. Even bought a PDI tuner. I haven't hooked it up because I haven't got the rest of the parts, which I'm going to come to my second question once we get done with this first one, which is more important. But no, I meant the tune-up. No tuning got changed. It's on a true OEM tuning.
Sure.
We actually flashed that again to make sure the guy that had it before me didn't fuck with it, because this is a completely custom truck done by Pickett, and obviously, people don't tell you the truth when they sell their trucks. So we made sure that had a true OEM tuning to it. So but then the fuel timing wasn't off or anything like that, because of a tuning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It could be the front gears, couldn't it, Tim?
Could be, but they usually wouldn't make necessarily a ticking noise. They usually have a lot more of an aggressive noise if it's a gear train that's out. It wouldn't be a ticking. It'd be more like a growl or sound like a chainsaw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're right.
No, nothing like that. When it's sitting idle, nothing is there when it's sitting idle. Until it starts moving, nothing is there, pretty much. And then when it's on a heavier load, like say I'm on a full ground type of load, and I'll be pulling the hills, and after pulling the hills, this shit will get a lot louder than that, just that, tick, 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 tick noise, And then after about, I've just been driving like this, trying to see where the fucking problem is, and then it will just kind of go back to the ticking noise on its own.
Well, I mean, you already had injector problems, so it could be a fuel knock for sure.
Right.
Are you blowing any white smoke?
No white smoke. It did when the injectors went out, and after that we pulled out the filter, the filter, and then I wanted to see if it needed to be cleaned. It did push the smoke once we done the injector. And then because we didn't clean the filter, and then after a couple of trips, I was like, let's just clean the filter. Pulled out the filter, cleaned it. I looked at it. I was like, dude, I might as well just go with the new one because it didn't look good at all. Which Peterbilt also recommended me that most likely it probably ruined the filter. So I already changed that. But there's no smoke coming. It did regen a lot until I changed the filter. It was doing like regen for 4 or 5 days straight. Like, the truck just wanted to keep on doing regen, because these things regen while the truck is moving. So once I changed out the filter, it stopped doing regen.
Sure. Well, I mean, you got to go do some more diagnostic on it, man. You got to make sure it's not the exhaust system causing your problem. And I want to make a suggestion. Maybe go to somebody else and have them look at the valve train.
Yeah, and also too have them check to make sure that it's not
check the cam, check the exhaust gasket.
Hang on, what was that, Tim?
I'm sorry, Tim. What was that?
Yeah, also check all your pulleys and everything. Like take your belts off. Just make sure you eliminate everything mechanical in the front of the engine, like a tensioner or an idler pulley or water pump bearing or an alternator bearing. I've had all. You've had this too, Aaron, over the years. Alternators start making a chirp noise a little bit. So yeah, that's another simple, easy diag way, and you can do that yourself. Is just pull it off and start the engine up and see if you have a noise. If you have, if the noise goes away, then it's something external on the engine, and you'll need to do a little bit more diagnostics on your outside components. But if it's still there, then I'd lean towards pull that valve cover and check the valve train really, really closely.
No, Tim's a spot on. I mean,
Okay.
but it kind of follows what I'm saying there is you got to do some more diagnostics. But what he's saying is just take your belt off completely. It's not going to burn it up, as long as you're not running around like that for an extended period of time. Take that belt off and see if the noise goes away. If it does, then it's external. But anyway,
I just kind of running on a short trip, like on the road.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, what you had a second question before we move on here? What was that?
Yeah, second question was about the PDI tuner. What do you think about what do you think about the tuner, man? And what part should be changed? Because I'm trying to get better gas mileage on this thing. Fuel mileage, I mean. So do you recommend the PDI tuner, and should it be used after it's doing the intake and exhaust manifold, or not on these X15, not recommended?
Tim, do you have any thoughts on the PDI tuner?
The tuner, I honestly don't know. I don't have really much experience with them. There's a couple guys I know that run them, but as for firsthand experience with them, I like to keep engines stock. They were designed that way, and I like to keep things stock. But for their intake manifold, I do like their intake manifold and their dual oil cooler. But as you were asking about the tuners,
right.
I don't know, because I just really don't have that much experience with them, to be 100% honest with you.
Okay.
I have a little bit more experience with their tuners, and at this juncture, I wouldn't feel comfortable warrantying a truck that has it on it.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I remember you had them up, and you were selling it for them, so you know somewhat about it. Okay, that answers my question, though.
I have, to put it into perspective, I have 15 of them at my shop, and I'm trying to send them back.
Right, got it. That answers me, man.
and I have always said this, and I'm not going to change my stance. I think they make some good products. They make some good turbos, some good intakes, some good exhaust manifolds. The big problem I have with PDI is if you have problems with any of their stuff, they're the worst company on planet Earth to deal with. I sold their stuff for a little bit, and I did not have a good experience, and I have moved right back over to Full Tilt stuff. Full Tilt makes an awesome. Have you ever used Full Tilt's intake, Tim?
I haven't used their intakes, but I've used a bunch of their exhausts.
Yeah, they got a badass intake that's just like PDI's, and you're not going to get told to go fuck yourself if you have a problem with it.
Okay, so the intake is a good thing for an engine as far as, getting just some more power. I mean, I'm not a kind of guy that wants to, high performance of, give me all the power I can get. More, maybe just the right amount of power that it can handle. So intake is the way to go. You're saying?
I personally think that changing to a performance intake on an ISX is the singular most best thing you could do for one. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Tim,
okay.
Sounds like Tim agrees.
Exhaust manifold with exhaust manifold or just
Well, of course. I mean, you can bring it in. It obviously.
There goes in, there goes out.
There you go. Right.
Yeah. Okay. But you can start out with the intake and then,
Yep.
Expect something good.
But as far as their tuner, you know, I got good friends that use them. You know, Mark at Big Shop, he's a big proponent of them, but I don't agree with him. I just don't.
Okay. Well, then, what was that brand name you just said? You make good intake?
Full tilt.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Full tilt.
Full tilt. Okay, full tilt. Gotcha. Okay, brother, man. That's all the question I had. You're a good mechanic, brother. I always watch your videos and always keep my head up.
All right, sir. Well, you have a good night.
That's all I got for you for today.
Good luck out there, okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tim.
All right, we got quite a few callers hanging on the line here. We're going to get to you guys. I promise you that. The number to call in, guys, is 573-422-4225. This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. Tonight I have with me Tim with Excalibur. If you don't know who he is, like I said before, you're probably living under a rock. You can find him on TikTok. On Facebook, you're Tim. What is your handle on Facebook?
Oh, my Facebook, my first and last name, Tim Banco.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on TikTok, he is Excalibur. Really easy to find. What's Charlie saying? Error is error. The Eco doesn't know it has an intake upgrade on it. Oh, okay. You're replying to Brian. I see. The ECM. I see. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, guys. Again, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. We'll go ahead and take another caller here. I don't see any. It's a nightmare. Anyway, I don't see any good questions. Guys, if you're watching on TikTok, we encourage you to go over to Facebook or YouTube. You can see and hear Tim as well as hear the caller. So we're streaming live over there right now. Hello, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Lynn Ellis, and you overhauled my truck about a year ago and put an air compressor on it and had no trouble, but last time I ran it, the air compressor come loose and the bottom stud fell off into the interior drive, the front drive. So we pulled the oil pan off of it and we fished it out. Have you had problems? Can I get another stud and put back in there without pulling all the front case apart?
Is this a cat?
Yes, it's a C15 BXS. I was the one where the guy had backed off my IVAs, and I had three busted cylinders, and I had two injectors that wouldn't fire.
Okay. I think it's pretty much impossible to get that stud in there without taking the front structure off.
Okay. Because we fished the old one out, we dropped the pan, we found it up in there, and somehow or other they said it looked like a wheel stud when it was new, but smaller, of course. But I ordered one, and they didn't have one nowhere around, and I had to overnight it, and they'll be here tomorrow, hopefully.
I'm trying to remember if it's that one or the other one that you have to get to, but I'm in the past I have nipped about a ½ inch off of one of those and got it to go in to avoid taking the entire structure apart.
Right. That's what I was thinking, if I could cut it a quarter of an inch or a ½ inch shorter and put it in there. And then my next question is, would you use a grade 8 nut with the lock washer, or would you use a Teflon lock washer, or what would you put on that to be the best?
Well, here at this shop, we use Teflon lock washers on everything. Or poly lock wash, whatever they are.
Okay.
Or no.
All right.
Lock nuts. Sorry. We use lock nuts with lock washers. These regular old grade 8 lock washers with nylon lock nuts on everything.
Okay.
Now, if
All right.
if yours was yours, did yours stay in frame?
Yes.
So if it was an in frame, the guys just
You,
we would have used the hardware that it came with. You know, we would have took your hardware off, put that compressor on, and put the old hardware back on.
right. I'm not saying y'all did anything wrong at all. I love your work and I think it's great. I tell everybody to go to you. It's just a simple fact that I came home, everything was great, didn't break nothing, and it was pumping oil out of that hole, and I couldn't believe it was loose. And the guy that I bought this truck from, there was nothing on it that he didn't lie about.
Well,
And I got another question. You know, there's different places in the block that you can put the dipstick.
Yep.
In it. I had one of them. I'm going to call it a little barrel that popped out, and I found it in the pan. And I ordered some new ones from Cat. Do I have to put them in from the bottom up, or can I put them from the outside down? To plug them holes, that hole.
You can kind of go either direction. I believe.
Okay.
I believe they prefer to go in from the bottom, but it ain't gonna kill it to come in from the top. I'm waiting for Tim to correct me here. I know Tim's a little bit more
Oh, those little rubber plugs.
anal about that. Yeah.
I've put them in both ways and haven't had them leak. So just make sure the bore is clean and line them up. A little slip and slide on there, or just a thin little coating anaerobic, and just tap them in there, and they'll be fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll do that. I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Have a good night and good luck. Oh, hey.
All right.
If
Thank you,
you
Aaron.
need to give me a call tomorrow about your issue there, give me a call, okay?
Okay, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Have a good night. Let's see. Man, I kind of had a brain fart there. Sorry. We have quite a few callers. We should probably continue to take them. Do y'all work on Cummins 6BTs? I don't. Tim, do you work on smaller? Do you work on medium and light duty, or light duty rather, engines?
I do, just not in pickups, but if they're in industrial applications, I do. So yeah, I do a lot of 4BT and 6BT stuff. Perkins, John Deere. I've got a Yanmar in here right now out of a sailboat of all things. So yeah, pretty much. I just don't do pretty much PACCARs or DD13s or 15s. Everything else is fair game though.
Yeah, we're kind of the same way. We'll do a lot of the smaller light duty and heavy duty engines. We've done some 5.9s. We've done a Perkins, 3117 cats, stuff like that. But we have the same policy. If it's not in an industrial application, we're certainly not going to work on your pickup. If it's in a sprayer or something, bring it. So, all right, guys. Here we go. We'll go ahead and take another caller. Again, guys, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. If you want to talk to Tim or myself, or just need help with something. Come on, take the call. Hello, you're on the air, brother.
Hello. Hi, this is Terry. I had a question. I got a PACCAR MX-13. And it dropped 3 of the liners. Well, the mechanic was saying that I can't shim it or anything. And the truck ran fine before it was ever even tore down. And I was just wondering, would it be wrong for me just to get someone to come out and service it and still shim it just to see? Or
Do you work on MX-13s at all, Tim?
No, I don't.
no, I have all C.
I was asking Tim here, but I can answer your question. We do work on them here. We have one in the shop here right now. We haven't done hundreds of them, but we're starting to get a few behind us here. And I own the counterbore machine for those. All the ones that we've done, there's two options you have. You can counterbore them and shim them. That's option number one.
Okay.
And I literally have engines running around right now that have been counterbored and shimmed by us. And then the other option is they make 3 different size liner heights. You can change the height of the liner, and that's actually the most preferable way. You counterbore them, put the new liner height, counterbore them to the new liner height, put those in there, and you're good to go. If your guy is telling you it can't be done, it probably means that he doesn't own the machine.
He wants me to correct, and he wants me to just find a whole nother block and everything. And I bought a new head for it to put it back together, and he was like, just find a whole nother block instead. But that's kind of, I'm up here in Fort Worth, so I'm not too far from you, and I don't really know anybody. All my trucks are C15, all A-cert cats, so I'm not very familiar with the PACCAR stuff. So that's kind of why I've been.
They make different size liners. He has to have the tool. He shouldn't have opened it up if he didn't own the tool.
Right. That's exactly how I figured too. That's what I wanted to see. Is there some weird thing with the PACCAR block that can't be done? So that answers my question on that. And I also have one question about a A-cert. I got a 6 1/4, and have you ever heard, or I was going to do the Intel valve actuator delete on it. Is that good, or
you wanted to do an actuator delete?
Yes, there's just I don't know, just some people I've known have done it, and they're trying to say it's way better for it.
They're full of shit.
Right. That's what. It's bone stock 6 1/4. I mean, it runs good, but I just was curious. They're trying to say it gets better fuel mileage and runs cooler or something. So
no, it doesn't. It actually runs hotter.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing. Right. The only thing it's got done to that motor.
Yeah. You're just for the guys that say that it performs way better when the VBAs are off. Your VBAs don't even start to come on until your oil gets to 160. I think it's 160 degrees. So drive your truck around and feel how it performs before it gets to 160 degrees, and after it gets 160 degrees, it actually performs better the hotter it gets. Deleting your VBAs gives you no performance advantage at all. People just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. All you're going to do is end up with a cracked out head and a bunch of problems.
I agree. Well, cool. I'll definitely get with y'all tomorrow on probably bring that truck down to y'all then.
Oh,
on the PACCAR.
I wasn't suggesting that at all.
Oh, okay.
No, but you guys can call like your Peterbilt or Kenworth or whatever, and they'll come out and cut those counterbores for you. You just need to find the correct liners, and so they can measure them up, and they'll come cut it for you. That's probably your most viable route. That's going to should be the most cost-effective route that you can go. I used to hire Cat to come here and Cummins to come here and cut counterbores, not here, but back in Alaska. I would hire them to come out and cut my counterbores because I didn't own the tooling. By the time I made it to North Dakota, I owned the tooling for all of them, but it was never that big of a deal to have them come out and do that kind of stuff. They charge it, but you might end up paying them, $13, $16, $1,800, but it's a lot cheaper in the block.
Oh yeah, completely. That's what I thought too. That it definitely seems like it was salvageable, not to be junking the whole block over that. So yeah.
All right, brother.
Well, I appreciate your time. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate watching it. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night. The last thing I want to do, Tim, is talk people into bringing their pack cars here. If I was going to make a recommendation to you, I would, part of me says that a guy kind of has to start to learn the pack cars because, the world's going that way, where if you're not open to doing them, but there's so many red engines out there. I think a guy can exclude the pack cars and still stay pretty damn busy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sooner or later we'll have to deal with them, but for right now, there's still enough other engine manufacturers that keep me plenty busy every day. So,
yeah, it's kind of like the DD15, do you really need to build those to have a shop? Obviously not. All right, you ready for another caller?
mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, I have a few questions. I'll start out. It started out with a MXS C15 Acer. I put a big bore kit in it, stage 3 head, the big marine cam, changed the turbo to they call it the King of the Hill. What is your recommendation for injectors for it? And what's your opinion on the big bore kits? And what would be a good average tune? I'm driving it over the road.
Kim? How about it?
Honestly, I don't have that much experience with the big bore tunes. Most everything I build here is stock. So that's just being honest. I don't know.
What engine was it again?
It's a C15 Acer.
Okay, and so
what it done, it made it to a 17 liter is what it did.
Okay, so you did the 17-liter kit on it, and you've and you have what? You've single turboed it?
Nope, still got the compounds. I just done the. Supposedly, it's supposed to have been. I had a turbo that was bad, and I just bought the high pressure turbo. Supposedly, it's supposed to be the King of the Hill turbo for the 625s, I guess.
Okay, but your 6 1/4 has a different camshaft, different injectors, different turbo. Yes, it also has a different compression piston crown. So, I mean, without knowing, you've put a different cam in it, but you put some kind of marine cam, and now you have these 17-liter pistons in there. I don't really know what to say. I mean,
bad combination.
Yeah, I mean, the Charles France, which is Charlie at Pure Diesel Repair, he says the block's the same block. There can only be one way to make a big bore, and that's to make the liners thinner. That was always the issue with the C16. Your C16 is the same block, and your C18 is essentially the same block, and so you're making it weaker and weaker and weaker is what you're doing. That setup that you're talking about having. Well, she sounds sexy.
I'm sorry, as my GPS.
No, you're good. I mean, I'm taking a long route to basically tell you good luck with all that. I think you're heading for some big disaster.
Oh.
I mean, you already have a Frankenstein. Nothing that you're naming matches up, to any compatibility. See you soon. Pretty much. You need me to send you Tim's number?
No, I'm good. So there's no recommendation for any kind of injector for it?
No, because you've already put in cam, I mean, I wouldn't know. I couldn't possibly guess what you would need. I mean, the same thing that you're trying to do. I made it 100% a 6 1/4. I would have put 6 1/4 cam, 17-to-1 pistons in it, and I would have put 6 1/4 injectors and a 6 1/4 factory tune on it. And then there wouldn't be this mumbled jumbled trying to figure out what the heck you're doing here. That makes sense.
Got you.
But what you got going on?
Alrighty.
What you got going on is a recipe for some disaster.
Alrighty. I do appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
No one got the memo that when you start playing, you start paying. Keep it boring. I like that comment.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question here. Let me back up. This question was for Tim. Where was that? Tim, what is your favorite engine and why?
Gosh, that's a good question. I really like the N14. They were everywhere kind of when I started in the industry, so we got to be really knowledgeable on them and they're fun to work on. But my all-time favorite is I like the 3406E C15. I've got a 5EK in my old Peterbilt service truck, and that thing has just been always dependable, relatively easy to work on, and that thing honestly has never left me on the side of the road. So my first big truck I had, which was the Peterbilt, still have it, that was cap powered, so it's just the engine I like, and it's the engine I enjoy working on.
Yeah, I think most mechanics prefer to work on a cat. They're really you get this aura when you're a cat engine builder, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is a cat guy," and you get some good aura from it. But in the reality of it is it's really the simplest engine, in my opinion, anyway. Do you concur?
Yeah.
It's easier to work on than that blue masterpiece behind you, in my opinion. I mean, I've done some N14s, but I let my brother-in-law do all of them.
Yeah, this one's been a really fun build. I'm going to get it back in the truck probably next week, but this was a bare block rebuild, so it's been fun. And we did the blue to match the rest of the truck, the striping on it, just to kind of give it some personality, that little wow, when you get it open the hood. So
yeah, you make them cool for sure. Yeah, I think we've answered that question. How hot is too hot for oil temp on an ISX? Well, they run hot, man. 240, even up to 250. As long as your coolant's not getting above, 220 something, you should be okay. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, Dustin from Michigan. I got an ISX. Hello, you're on the air. And I lost boost, and I took it to a shop, and they run all the diagnostic tests on it. The motor is deleted, and they done all the diagnostic tests on it and said everything was working, electrical. And then I changed the turbo out, took it back to the shop again, and they said it's the same turbo. It's a reman turbo, and told me it was the turbo again. So I'm down to 22% on my boost and 80% on my torque. The motor is deleted. What are my options?
I'm always going to default to trying to let you answer first, Deb.
Oh, no, go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yep, you're the best. I mean,
well, I guess you got to ask him what's going on with this turbo. I mean, is it just constantly eating turbos, or what are you doing?
They told me that it was thicking, had a thicky shaft on it. It's a reman turbo that I got from a company up here. And I took it back, and they told me it was a sticky shaft again, so I just been putting new turbos on it, warrantying them.
Is this a VGT turbo?
We'll find something else. No, it's a Halstead.
I don't think you can have a sticky shaft.
No, I wonder if his shaft is warping, excessive heat going through it. Do you have a pyrometer on the truck so you can measure your exhaust temperatures?
No, I do not. It's all electronic. And when I took it to the shop, they said they couldn't check the exhaust temperature because it was deleted. That's the only thing they couldn't control.
No, what? I couldn't hear you.
He said they can't test the shop is telling them they can't check the exhaust temperature because it's deleted.
Uh-oh, I lost sound. Hang on. Uh-oh.
Oh, we can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it disappeared.
Everything's fine. Or do I just need to grab a load and come down and let you play with it? It smokes like a dickens too.
Gosh, I'd be looking at how long's it been deleted? Like recently, or for a while, or like when did you really start having turbo issues?
Been deleted about a year. Yeah, I just have now recently lost my boost and my torque and the third stage of my turbo, my Jake.
Gosh, it sounds like you could have a lot of different things going on, like cracked charge air cooler or some boots going on. Or
you wouldn't have a third stage to your Jakes anyways if you don't have a VGT turbo.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have a actuator on top of my turbo. Yes.
Oh, I just asked you if it was a VGT. So have they?
Yeah, I spoke. I'm sorry.
So are they reusing your actuator every time?
Yeah, it all checks out fine. It shows that it's opening and closing all the way.
Yeah, so buy a long turbo instead of a short turbo.
Yeah.
It's not actuating. If you lost your third stage of your Jakes, that tells us everything, right? The VGT is not actuating. It's not sliding back and forth, right? And you're on your second turbo, and it's still not actuating. It's kind of pretty obvious that it's not the turbo. You can't put another turbo on it and it has the exact same problem. It's got to be the actuator.
Okay. Put a new actuator on it then and go from there, huh?
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be the shop you're at too. To be honest with you, they may not be calibrating it correctly when they put the new one on.
Maybe that might be true. I can't say that because I'm not back there with them. But we did it at our shop, and they did it at an actual shop, and that we got the same result. And we put different actuators on there, and it's still giving us the same result because we had extra ones on the shelf.
Extra old used ones.
Yeah, used ones, yeah. And then we also put it on another truck, and that it's working fine. So, I mean, I don't...
Okay, if you put it on another truck and it's working fine, you put it on another truck...
Yeah, the actuator that we...
Okay. Here's another thing, is it doesn't take much. It does not take much at all to ruin a VGT turbo. VGT turbos are badass, but they are very weak. It does not take much carbon at all to make one of those bend a fin, and it won't slide in and out. That turbo could have got ruined because of a dirty install almost instantly when they put it on.
So I installed it myself. I mean, we had a decent clean shop. It wasn't like I laid it in a bunch of gear or nothing.
No,
I mean,
but the engine itself, the engine, the intake of the engine itself is what I'm really getting at.
okay.
It took it out the first time from carbon. That's on the intake and on the exhaust and EGR and all that crap. That these things get sooted up and carboned up. And whatever took it out the first time, took it out the second time instantly. Very possible.
Man, it wouldn't do it that fast because all I did was just drive it down the road, put it on, go down the road, turn around, come right back with it.
Yeah.
All nothing or nothing.
I mean, maybe you need to take your intake and your EGR off and clean them.
Okie dokie. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, brother, man.
New stuff to try. If I don't get it figured out, you'll be seeing me.
Yeah. All right, man. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Yep, bye. I really think a lot of unfortunate stuff that happens to guys really comes down to what my buddy James stressed so hard on when he was on the show with me is they're just not taking enough of the proper steps to diagnose the problem. They just start throwing stuff at it.
Throwing tips at it. Yeah, exactly.
Somebody asked, can you have Tim explain why he doesn't like deleting engines?
Well, that's pretty simple because it's against the law.
That's the same reason I don't like deleting them.
It is what it is.
Do you, for me, and I don't even mind saying it, if a truck comes here and it is deleted, it doesn't bother us. We don't mind repairing it. We're not modifying the engines in any way. We will repair an engine that's been deleted. What's your policy there?
I don't allow them on property. I just don't want any of the headaches that comes with them. So that's usually one of the first questions during the intake process here is I ask people, is your emission system intact and functioning? And if it isn't, I just don't want any of the hassle that comes with it. So.
Sure. I mean, you're not going to come look in my dumpster and find DPF filters for days, right? No, you'll find none because we don't tear them apart. We don't delete them. We don't block off anything. In fact, I'm not even sure how that process goes. That's how much I have not done it. I'm not just saying that because we're live here and all this and that. It's just, you can go back and look at all my videos. We don't delete trucks. It's just not what we do. But I don't, do you think there's any kind of risk there with working on ones that are deleted or?
I don't know. I've heard the different conflicting stories where you can, then you can't, or you shouldn't or whatever. So I don't know. I guess it's such a gray area that I just don't even want to go down that road. So I just don't allow them here.
Yeah. I just always assumed if I wasn't modifying them in any way, shape, or form, then it's not on me. So. What do you think about CTP aftermarket parts brands for Cat engines? My personal opinion on CTP is that at one time they sold a lot of junk, but their products have vastly improved. I try to stay away from CPT's stuff like their oil coolers and water pumps, stuff like that. But CTP is a great person to go after for specialty parts. They do a lot of specialty Cat stuff like bolts and just hard to get stuff. And I use them a lot for that. Anyway, guys, if you're watching on TikTok, we encourage you to go over to Facebook or YouTube. You can see Tim and I interacting together. You can also call in and be part of the show. And you can hear the caller if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. We're streaming live over there, Hack Nation. Anyway, guys, if you want to call in, the number to call in is 573-422-4225. We actually have quite a few people on the line, so we're going to have to go ahead and keep taking them here so they don't get so backed up that guys are on hold for an hour. So, hello, you're on the air. What can we do for you, brother?
Yes, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing awesome. Just had a quick question about the Acer C15 cat engine. So one of my trucks is already needing main bearings. I did see a video from you all where the bearings were, I guess, coated. So I wanted to know if that would be a good option for an engine like a Cat C15 without doing the rebuild.
Tim, you use quite a bit of coated kits too, don't you?
Yeah. I've used quite a bit of the PAI coated kits over the years, and we've had really, really good luck with them.
Now, have you ever had any experiences like I'm sure you've seen me have, where you've had an opportunity to go back and look at them after the fact?
I have. I've had some where we've rebuilt them, and guys will come back in, 700,000-800,000 miles later, to roll some bearings in and do some other general maintenance. And the wear that they have is actually really impressive, but a lot of that comes down to the customer on their maintenance schedules, their cleanliness also when they're doing their services. So, I think a lot of it's a really good issue having the coated bearings, but a lot of it also falls on the vehicle owner too and their maintenance schedules and practices like that. So.
Yeah. So my personal experience is similar to Tim's, but we've had some catastrophic failures that we've been able to look at that involved us being able to inspect how things held up with coated parts. And the testimony, the in-house testimonial from that, it has me at the point where I have started coating stuff in-house as well, because I've seen enough to be convinced that nothing that you can do to an engine compares to the coatings that you can put on some of this stuff, the Teflon coatings. And I say Teflon, but Teflon is actually a brand name. It's kind of like saying Kevlar. Bulletproof vests are made out of aramid. They're not made out of Kevlar. Kevlar is a brand. Same thing with Teflon. Teflon's a brand. I don't use actual Teflon brand, but and PAI doesn't either. But it's comparable to that brand is why I refer to it as Teflon. Just a little disclaimer there. But anything I've seen that's been coated in Teflon, so to speak, has been remarkable in how it holds up. Now, the ceramic coatings, there's lots of testing out there on those ceramic coatings done by Speed of Air, done by PAI, and you can see the performance differences from using ceramics. But as far as the Teflon coatings go, I've got to see that in real time, in real conditions, where they should have been massive failures, that those Teflon coatings protected the engine from having massive failures. So do I think it's beneficial to do Teflon coated bearings if you're not going to rebuild the whole thing? Yeah, 100%. I think that I may never roll another bearing in an engine ever again that's not Teflon coated unless the owner just absolutely doesn't want it. That's where I'm at with it these days.
I appreciate it, and that's exactly what I wanted to do, because one of my trucks needs it. So I'm probably going to be calling you and asking you how to get those. I do have a second quick question. Now, for the Speed of Air pistons, which is something that you all have been very vocal, and I'm intrigued. The technology is amazing. It looks like there's a lot of good results in terms of saving diesel fuel and all that. So for those, can they be installed in over-the-road vehicles, or is it only for racing? I know that it was mentioned that it's only available for certain types of trucks. So can I install it for my over-the-road semi-truck, Cat C15 Acer?
So the Speed of Air pistons that they came out with for big rigs, that's a brand new thing. I have to be really careful what I say about Speed of Air, because the same people that build their pistons just happen to be the same people building my pistons. And so I don't want to throw them under a bus and back over them 4 or 5 times. But what I would encourage people to do is I mean, I want to challenge Speed of Air's claims of what their pistons do if they take the ceramic coating off. They cannot justify the $16,000 to $14,000 price tag for a basic in-frame kit. I'm telling you right now.
All right.
I don't want to just sit here and throw them under a bus, but at the same time, people that listen to this show or watch my videos or Tim's or, I know that people respect our opinions, and I just cannot imagine encouraging a guy to go spend $16,000 to $18,000 on a basic in-frame kit when I'm not going to say I know. That's the part of the part that I'm not going to say, but I would challenge you to challenge them to prove it. Prove it. Prove that you're getting your money's worth for those little dimples in the piston crowd. And without the ceramic coating, right? That ceramic coating is a proven method for bringing down temperatures, for transferring heat, getting better fuel mileage, getting more horsepower. And we're talking minimal amounts here, right? We're not talking like adding 150 horsepower, right? We're talking small percentages, but they exist. Do those percentages exist because they dimpled the crowds? Take the ceramic coating off and run the tests and answer the question. That's my challenge to them.
Would you say that that's the same ceramic coating that's also on the bearing that refers to the question that I just asked previously?
So, like, let's just take a PAI performance kit. PAI, what they do is they Teflon coat the rods and mains, they ceramic coat the piston crowns, and then they take the wrist pins and they mirror polish them. I am working on getting a jig set up to also mirror polish wrist pins to basically mirror what they do. But your question is about speed of air, right? And
yes,
you're not going to get me to advocate for speed of air ever, and it's not because they're technically a competitor of mine. It's because, again, I don't want to say more than someone needs to challenge them to prove it. And they need to take the ceramic coating off and run them as bare steel with the dimples to prove it. It's not a new technology. It's been around for a long time. And manufacturers,
yeah, but
manufacturers stopped doing it, and there's a reason.
Yeah, it sounds like like you're saying, it's a question that needs to be answered, and I'm hoping, well, at least for me, I got the answer that I needed. So my next info, I'm just gonna call you, and we'll take it from there.
Well, that's not where I was going with that, but I appreciate it, man. Good luck, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, okay. Have a good night. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a rock and a hard place with the whole speed of air things, Tim, because I've actually got to watch them being made, and
Really?
Yes, yeah, it's pretty cool, but and they look cool and all that, but the fact of the matter is the price tag that they have on their kits, I don't know if you've ever priced them out. Jesus,
No, I haven't.
fucking Christ.
God
damn.
$16,000 to $18,000 for an in-frame.
I have an in-frame kit quote sitting in my office. I believe it's 16 something for a kit.
Wow.
Yes. And for that kind of money, they need to be showing the data. They need to show the data. Anyway. Eddie Bustos or Beto Bustos. I have a question. T15 Acer, they recently changed the clutch and changed the rear crankshaft main steel. 2 days later, started leaking again. What could be the problem? Lucas Simpkins did a good job of answering that question. They installed it incorrectly. That is what happened. It happens.
Yeah.
You go watch my most recent video. I just posted it 30 minutes before the show started. One of the warranties here in our shop is a rear main seal that we are warrantying because it leaks, and I guarantee it was an installation error. It wasn't the main seal didn't just decide to fail.
Yeah.
Somehow we messed it up.
Yeah. I'm up. most of the rear main seal leaks, I see come in where we've had other work, from other shops where guys have had clutches, rear mains put in, and they're leaking shortly after. And a lot of times you see guys go crazy with a chisel getting that inner wear ring off the crank, so they're gouges in the crank, or heck, we see them beat them in with a hammer or wood block, and all kinds of interesting ways of putting them in. So yeah, I agree with you, Aaron, on that one. It's most likely going to be either an installation error or damage to a housing or on the crank.
I mean, we have these special sway bars that we use to get the seals out.
Mm-hmm.
They work so amazing. I mean, you never booger anything up. You never have any problem.
Yeah.
And I obviously own all the special tools to put them in. And even then, 1 out of every 50 or so, we get ones that leak.
Yeah, sometimes stuff happens. It's just the way it is. But
was it a PAI seal? In my opinion, it doesn't matter. I mean, I use CAT, I use PAI, I use Interstate McBee, I use IPD. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I've never blamed the seal. Sometimes, I mean, we've had with highway and heavy parts, I think they've warranted three different main seals for us because we got everything off and we looked at it and it's leaking. And if it's leaking, between the wear sleeve and the seal, then I'll claim a warranty on it. But it's very rare. It's very rare the main seal is going to be the problem. In 13 years, I've had 3 claims on seals, and we've had a hell of a lot more than 3 leak. Somebody asked me, I wanted to answer this before we take. If you're on the hold, give us a minute. We're going to come right to you here, and we'll try and take 2 or 3 calls all at once. Somebody asked me something. I wanted to answer it. Where was it? Can you explain the process for coding? I'll do that after we take a few calls. That's a little in-depth answer there. Jared Harding, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you? Ooh.
You're on the air. Hey there. My name is Jared. I work here at St. M Fleet Repair in Dalton, Georgia, and I built 3 engines for my boss here in the past year, from 24 to going into 25, and one of them was an ISX-12, which is an en-bloc cam with a rear gear train setup, and the other 2 were just ISX-15s. The ISX-12 build was very good, but the 2 X-15s needed the counterbores cut on them. Well, whenever I was measuring the liner protrusion, everything, the liners were actually sunk, so we had to go in and cut the counterbores. So my boss had bought a tool from Freedom Racing Performance. That's where he buys all his tools from. And it's a Kentmore, it's not a Kentmore, it's a K-Line Tools counterbore refreshing kit. And the problem I had using that tool was every time I would try to cut the counterbore, whenever you pulled the tool out to get the metal shavings out and measured the diameter of how much you cut, it would leave a weird chamfer, and sometimes the cut would be off-centered. I was wanting to see if you've ever had any issues whenever you're cutting counterbores, if you ever had issues with it being offset or cutting unevenly.
For me, the counterbore cutters I have, they're all Monaco for the Cat and Cummins. The end of it has a taper to it, so it'll get you centered right in your bore there. And when you set your cutting blade out, it comes with a long feeler gauge, so you're going to step it away from the block just a little bit, so you get your desired circumference of your cut. So on my end, I've never had any issues getting them centered up to where it wasn't true. But then for cutting, if you're cutting lopsided, you could have a warped deck issue, or like for your deck, how did you clean your deck? I've seen some with a wire wheel them, and then when you go over your holes, it'll kind of bevel it up just a little bit. So when you set your cutter on there, that could give you an improper reading. So it's not exactly true and flush. So you're higher one side or the other a little bit. That's pretty much the only reason why.
The way I would clean my deck surface. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah. The only way I would clean the deck surfaces, I would use like a Brillo pad, and use some ether or diesel fuel to kind of clean the surface up to give it a good shine. You don't ever the way I was taught was not to use like a carbide scraper or like a razor blade or anything like that. Just something nice to get the old head gasket material off of the surface. And the way that tool is set up as well, the way it sits in the bore, it has like a little spring set up when you sit it in there. And then you have these two little, they look like little ears where the bolts bolt to the 4 bolts of the head or the main surface of the block. And the problem is like sometimes you have to, it's what the directions saying, the manual says turn the bore back or turn the blade backwards, which in sense it's a 4 corner blade, and it breaks it off if you actually try to turn it backwards, which makes no sense to me. But I just didn't know if y'all ever run any issues, if it's maybe just a cheap tool, or do you think maybe you need to upgrade to the latest and greatest tools is my mainest question right there.
So ironically, Tim, a guy came into my shop today and he had this tool. It's called a reconditioning tool that this guy's talking about. I'm almost certain it's the same tool. And this guy was having a similar problem, and he came to my shop today and asked if he could take a picture of the part number of our tool. We use Monaco tools as well. And he showed me what he's using. And I think the problem this guy's having is that thing's a giant piece of shit. And that's me being really nice. I think your tool's a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, most definitely. That's what I was thinking.
Yes, that tool does not belong in the bore of an engine anywhere on planet Earth. They believe it's like 1,300 or something for that tool. The guy was showing it to me. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's $1,400. What I'm looking at right now, it's called a counterbore reconditioning tool.
Yeah, that thing's a piece of shit. You have no business putting that down in an engine.
Yeah,
that's the real problem.
Yeah, because it actually, right? Because what I had to do was whenever I found out that it was cutting, unevenly, I had to go from a 20,000 shim to a 32,000 shim. To actually make sure you're center. And then whenever you set the liner in, you recheck your counterbore or your liner protrusion whenever you smash down the liner and you torque at the spec. I think Cummins, the way when I looked on Quick Serve, it was like 2 thousandths per 4 corners is your maximum. You can't have one like at 6 thousandths, one at 12 thousandths, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of concerned about when, the next engine I built for him, I don't want to go in there because if you mess up an engine block, that's 15 or 20,000 right there down in the hole.
Yeah, he needs to spit out the extra $2,000 and get the Monaco tool.
Yeah, I agree. You'll love it.
I will definitely run that by him. The reason that was the only reason why I was calling. I was, because I've asked a bunch of people that have, I've talked to, and they can't really answer that question. And I felt like I was doing something wrong with building, cutting the counterbores. But luckily to this day, the engines are still running strong. So I must have done something right.
No, sure. Nobody's questioning your ability, but the fact that your ability has to override the tool is a problem.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, guys, that really does answer my question. I appreciate the advice.
All right, sir. Well, good luck with your next one. Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, ironically, Tim, I can't believe this guy calls because I never heard of this tool ever in my life. And today a guy comes in with this tool asking me about why it doesn't work worth a fuck. And I was like, what the fuck is this piece of shit?
What is it?
Dude, no.
What is it, like some multi-engine cutter or something, like a one-size-fits-all? Or
and you look up counterbore reconditioning tool. You'll find it. If it costs about $1,400, you'll figure out. You'll find it. Okay. You own a Porto tool as well, don't you?
No, the Porto tool was for a mobile machinist guy I used to have come cut the blocks, and so I wanted to start doing more stuff in-house, so I got my own equipment and started doing everything in-house now, counterbore wise.
Yeah, really? I thought you owned it. I mean, I've always wanted one of those. But you have experience of at least seeing one being used. What do you? I mean, they're like They're expensive as fuck, but are they worth the money, you think?
Yeah, they definitely are. I know when my guy would come in and do like upper inserts on 12.7s or even lowers on cats, it was pretty easy for him. He just set that up there and do his thing, and learned a lot from him on how to do it and all measuring and how to set the tooling up and how to do it. So I think it's worth the investment. In fact, Monaco, I just got a thing in the mail the other day from Monaco. They've got their own version of it now. I've got the paperwork out in the pickup, but the Monaco tool looks pretty impressive.
Huh. I'm waiting for them to come out with and I called Monaco and talked to them, and I was like, do you guys make a tool to cut the lower sleeve? And they're like, no, we don't. And I was like, well, why the hell do you guys sell the lower sleeve if you don't sell a tool? Because you can buy the sleeves from them, but they don't sell the tool. And they're like, oh, we're working on it. I'm like, well, work on it faster. I need one of those. That's what I really need I can't stand the fact I have to take a whole fucking engine out of the truck. It's pardon about the French. I got to take a whole engine out of the freaking truck and take it to the machine shop to do a lower. And I know they could make a machine like the Porta tool to do those lowers. In fact, I'm pretty sure that something like that already exists.
There is, yeah. Over the years, we've done many of them inside the truck, so we didn't have to take them out and send them over to the machine shop.
Huh? If you know what that tool is, send me the part number when you get a chance, because that's something I would really want.
Okay.
Somebody said, yeah, I do lower boards with my Porta tool in frame. Huh? That would make me so happy if I could do lowers in the truck. Man, that would just be a game changer.
Yeah, save a lot of time and expense too.
Do you send a lot of engines to the machine shop, Tim, or do you have a good machine shop around you? What do you do there?
I've got a great machine shop. I use the Komatsu dealer in town. They've got a brand new state-of-the-art machine shop where they do most of their mining engines, and then they also take in outside work as well. So whenever I need extensive block work, that's where they go. They've been my go-to guys for a long time. We've got a really good working relationship, and I have no complaints with any of their work I've ever had done there.
Nice. Somebody said HHP is the go-to for injectors. I agree. They do make a pretty good injector. I wanted to comment on that really quick. We're coming out with an injector and a partnership with them on an injector that's going to come out here I believe in 2 weeks. Finally, we've been working on it forever. Going to have all new bodies and all that. I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to have what we hope is a bulletproof injector. People ask me for good injectors. That's one of the most common thing I get asked for. When people know we're coming out with our own parts line, people are like, are you going to come out with a good injector? That is going to be probably one of the first products that we finally release to the public. We've been working on an injector for months now. And the big thing was doing all new injector body. I can't wait. Where's Tim located? Tim's in Arizona. What town are you in there in Arizona, Tim?
The town I'm in is it's called Apache Junction, and where that's at is it's about 30 miles east of downtown Phoenix. So we're just on the east side of Phoenix, basically.
Okay. All right, we got a lot of guys on hold here. So, hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going today?
Good, brother. What can we do for you?
Man, I got this STP, man. I've called to talk to you before and got some advice from you and followed all of that advice. Anyway, well, what's going on is I've had it tuned a few times, and I've did the weight reduction, like so. Everything after the turbo is straight pipe, what have you. And I'm still getting a D rate. I've changed all of the sensors. Well, not the barometric pressure. You told me to change that one. I can't find it. Boost sensor, inlet air temperature, all that good stuff. Every time I have it tuned, it runs great for about 2 days, and then it goes back to D-rate. I can't figure out what's making it D-rate.
Well, part of
I've had. Oh,
part of what doesn't make any sense to me is you're basically saying without saying that you have it deleted. If you have it deleted, how are you getting D rates anyway?
not sure. I'm not sure. Well, they when I first bought the truck, they still had 18-to-1 compression pistons in it, so they haven't put it to 16-to-1. Still got the twin turbos. So I'm guessing maybe they still got the IBAs working or something in there. I'm not sure.
Here's the thing, man. If you're getting a D rate, a true D rate, your engine is going to tell you what that is. The ECM is going to log that.
It doesn't. That's the crazy thing. It does. I've had people ride with me, not loaded, bobtail and with the trailer. People ride with me. It's doing it. I'm telling them, hey man, it's doing it right now. Nothing pops up on their computer, and they got the bad motor scooter, the computer to tell you everything that's going on. Nothing pops up on their computer. I'm about ready to take it up there to park and let them put it on the dyno to see if it could put it under a load and it tell him.
Yeah, I mean, if you got guys helping you out, hands-on helping you out, and they can't figure it out, I don't know how him or I could possibly endeavor to try and help you out on that one. I know you've called several times, but that's a good question in the comment section here. Does it have low power or is it actually derated? It's not. Are you getting a check engine light?
No check engine lights.
Okay, then you're not.
None at all.
Then you're not derated. It's not the same thing. You have a low power issue. The low power issue is not a derate issue.
All right. Well, we'll say it's a low power.
Well,
but it's crazy because it don't.
The diagnostic for that's completely different. So it's a very important distinction.
All right. Well, I've checked my whole fuel system. I've changed fuel filters multiple times. Everything is good. The people that have put it on the computer say I do got good fuel pressure. And what happens is I could take off. I could get full power. I could get full boost, everything upon taking off. But once I get up to about 60 miles an hour, it's like I lose a little bit of power, man. And I can feel it. The truck starts shaking and all kind of crap,
And the exhaust is completely straight piped?
Straight. No pressure, back pressure, anything. Everything's straight.
Yeah, something to do with the ECM. The comment section is leaning heavily towards your fuel. Charlie's saying the ECM doesn't know what the fuel pressure is. Yeah, it's something. I mean, it didn't do this before.
You even changed the ECM. I thought it.
Right.
It's been doing this the whole time I've had the truck. I've had the truck for 6 months and it's been doing it the whole time.
You changed the ECM and had the same person tune it again.
No, completely different person.
Completely different person.
I've done it 3 times. It's been completely different person each and every time. Every time it goes back to it'll run great for 2 days and then go back to this issue.
Yeah. And you diligently have checked the injector, done cutout tests?
Done cutout tests. All the injectors, I don't know about the spray. I don't know if they've been flow matched and all that good. I don't know about, but when they do the injector test, they do test fine.
I don't know, man. I hate to say that to a guy, but Tim, you have any suggestions?
I guess he could check his put some put some glass fittings in the fuel lines. Check, see if he's got any fuel aeration going on. But gosh, could be a lot of different things.
Yeah. Most shops don't have those. I get them from Apex Diesel Tools. You can get their inline ones. They have the best ones that I've seen. They're built for these engines, and they got the sight bubble, or the sight in it, so you can use that sight to count the bubbles, and then you can go check your manual and see what your bubble count is.
Yep.
Yep. It's either something to do with the air or something to do with the fuel. Somebody needs to do some better diagnostic for you on that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What do you think about my decision to go up there to Mark and let him put it on a dyno? You think that I might get pinpointed with him?
Yeah, for sure. And Mark's really good at that kind of stuff, man. He really is.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, man. Hey, man, I appreciate your videos and put all your content, man. That's really great. I've been checking you out for a while, and appreciate your time, man. You have a good evening.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
All right.
Well, that guy's had hell with that truck. I think he's called several times.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. No, I see a question here I'd like to answer to Kyle. It says, "Oh, Tim, what made you buy a service truck instead of just all in-house, and why did I choose a Stellar body?" Well, I've always had service trucks. I think I bought my first one back in 1999. I've got an extensive history with on-site heavy equipment repair, also on-site truck and fleet maintenance. So I like to be able to do in-house repairs as well as be set up for anything out in the field, like pulling an engine out of a loader or scraper or whatever. I'll go out, do the R&R, and then bring it back to the shop, overhaul, and go back and forth. So service truck has been a really important part of my whole career, to be able to, like I said, do stuff in-house and also go on site. And sometimes we do some out-of-state stuff. Like I was up in North Dakota in 2011 with the service truck because there was really nothing to do down here in Phoenix. The economy was really slow. So it was nice to be versatile and just be able to load up and go. I'm getting older now, and I really don't want to be in the sun in Phoenix when it's 110 degrees out working on equipment. There's young guys for that. But I'll still go out in the wintertime or, for the right project that I want to go do. But for the most part, yeah, it's the toolbox. I mean, it's set up with pretty much what you need out in the field and in the shop too. But there's tons of shelving here with specialty tooling and other shop equipment. So, I guess to answer your question, Kyle, is I just like the versatility of it, and I offer both in-house and on-site repairs.
And then the last part of his question asked if I would consider if I would consider getting service trucks. The answer to that is it kind of ties in with what the last part of what Tim said. I owned 3 service trucks. I had a 2-ton service truck, and I had 2 like Ford service trucks. I had 3 service trucks for a long time because I owned a fleet of trucks myself. And I had the maintenance contract for Halliburton on all of their sand chassis. That was a sweet gig, by the way. And so I was chasing around their sand chassis all the time. And I had a big 2-ton with a crane on it and everything. But to kind of be where Tim's at now with it is where I got a long time ago. And, I don't want to be out in a service truck. People come from all over the United States and Canada to come to my shop. We're getting ready to announce that we're shutting down for the month of August. We're not going to take any more jobs because we're getting so far behind. We're getting backed up with so many trucks in the parking lot. We're starting to do our customers a disservice by the wait time becoming so long. why in the hell would I be chasing around trucks if I have that kind of volume here, right? And North Dakota was even worse than here because we had a smaller shop. We were giving out invoices that were 11 months old from the time people showed up to the time they're getting their trucks back. I have no business being in a service truck. So I sold them all before we left North Dakota, and I have no interest in getting more of them because I would just be doing a disservice to the people that come here.
Yeah.
And same thing with you, Tim. I mean, it's not like you need to go get in a service truck because you're groping for work, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, honestly, in the shop, I'm usually 9 to 12 weeks out to get anything in the door. Sometimes, if it's for a good customer, something simple, squeeze them in, stay here half the night to make it happen. But for, in any major work, usually always at least 9 weeks out. So, and like you said, I don't need to go on site and go chase work. There's plenty here. It's nice though, to go on site and go do some heavy equipment work, just to kind of get out of here and change the pace for a little bit. But I just like to have the options, to be able to do both of them.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just not for me. Guy on TikTok says, "What's up, Matt Whipple? Hauled some of my bees. He told me to look you up." Yeah, Matt Whipple's an awesome guy, man. In my opinion, he's one of the most premier bee haulers in the United States. If I had to move bees around, he'd be the only guy I called. Awesome guy. Anyway, go ahead and let's take some callers, Tim. We got them backed up. Some guys have been on hold for over 30 minutes. We should probably get to them here. Hello, you're on the air, brother.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, sir. It's you. Go ahead.
Hello. Hey, I got a question. I just recently bought a truck. It's a vocational truck, but I'm wanting to run a little bit further. I'm going to swap. It has a 8-speed LL with the ISX 15. It's a 2013. So it's a pretty weird truck. So it has 411 rears in it, and I'm wanting to get to where I can run 75 at a lower RPM. I'm doing 65 everywhere around town, running 1700 RPM. I'm wondering if I swap the transmission to a 13-speed, if that'll help it.
Well, swapping the transmission isn't going to change your gear ratio.
Yeah, no, you'll have to look at your rear end gear ratio. I mean, I'm partial to a 13-speed transmission. I really like them. That's what I have in my Peterbilt, and in fact, that's one of my favorite transmissions. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you're going further out, and depending upon where you're going, if you're doing mountain driving, what you're hauling, it just depends on your application, what you're going to be doing with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all around Texas. So
a 13-speed is vastly superior to the transmission that you have, but it's not going to cure the problem that you're having. It's not going to do anything for it at all, actually.
Okay. So
your ratios are
done. It's still going to be working really hard.
The ratios are all in the differential, my friend.
Okay. Yep. That's kind of what I was thinking too. So I got a guy that's going to swap me some rear ends. I think he said he has 355s. Figure if I do that, it'll take those RPMs down, not work as hard.
Yep.
All right. That was my question. I appreciate you.
All right, brother. Have a good night. Good luck.
Y'all too.
Yeah, I actually... go ahead.
I said, speaking of differentials and stuff, I remember hearing show a couple weeks ago where a guy was chasing a mystery vibration for every. Remember that one? His truck would hop, and they replaced everything from inside rear ends to clutch to everything, U-joints, carrier bearing. One thing that, and I've seen this a few times over the years, is a bent or slightly twisted axle shaft. Once you get that thing up to speed, that'll cause you to start hopping back there. And it's one of the most overlooked things. I mean, really, when you pull an axle out to do a rear end or a wheel seal, you make sure it's not broken in half, and I'm guilty of it too. You pick it out, set it down, wipe it. You don't really check it for trueness. So I've had that a few times over the years where, you're chasing a mystery wheel hop or a mystery vibration at a certain speed, and it ends up being one of the axle shaft is not true anymore.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I've never came across that, but I mean I mainly only mess with axle shafts on my own trucks, and I always had 46,000-pound rears on everything, so the axle shafts are this fucking big around, so I didn't deal with
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
what
it.
that's got. That's got 46-foot lockers in it. So yeah.
Yeah. A guy here asked, do we prefer a 78 132 or an 80 millimeter 145? Curious to know what Tim thinks, but personally, I prefer a 78 145 in most applications, on if we're talking about cats, especially.
Yeah, I do too.
Yep. I'm not a big fan of the 80 millimeter turbos. I'm really not. But back to the transmissions there. You know, a 13 speed, in my opinion, is one of the best all around transmissions. There's a couple of benefits to it. I prefer to have 13 speeds in my driver's trucks because they're less prone to mess them up. You know, when they're in the low slide, they're just straight shifting them. And the other good thing about them is if they do get destroyed, they are a sight less expensive than an 18 speed to replace for sure, especially if you're doing like a swap for a reman. And giving up yours as a core. A 13 speed it does not hurt like an 18 speed does when you're going to buy a new one for sure.
That is very true.
And you're really not missing out on much. You're really not, as far as not being able to split the lower gears. I mean, 99% of your application, straight shift in the lower gears works just fine. I mean, I personally prefer an 18 speed, but it's kind of like having shiny things on your truck. Like you said earlier, I'm a truck driver too at heart. I spent a lot of years behind the wheel, and it's I want an 18 speed. It's just me. So anyway, we better jump back to these callers. They just keep coming in. So hello, you're on the air.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes.
Question for I've got a P15. One of the injector studs sheared off. Can I just change the solenoid on that?
I mean, if they're compatible.
Without changing the whole injector?
I mean, I'm not sure. I hate giving people let me say it this way. I have done it many, many, many times. Like many times. So the answer from me is yes. But you are changing things when you do that, right? And I'm going to go in and set all the injectors to certain trim codes and stuff like that. Is it going to be some kind of dramatic, if you're staying like for like on your injector numbers, are you going to be doing something so dramatic you're going to see some kind of performance effect as far as you didn't put in the right trim codes and all that? No, you're not going to notice anything, but it's not necessarily the right thing to do. So I'm not giving you advice to do that, but it is an easy way to fix one, yes.
Well, my second part of that question was going to be, do I stick with the original trim file or would I use the one that's stamped on the solenoid? I'm not real sure how the flow works,
I mean, if you're a stickler, yeah, you should. I think you would want to go with whatever module you're putting on there, but you're really not. I mean, in my opinion, Charlie says you're not going to have any effect. If solenoid's the part number, it's replaceable. Use the original trim file. Yeah. So you should be fine as long as you're staying within the same family.
Okay, great. That's all I had.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Love the show.
Thank you. Bye. For me, Tim, I got a lot of guys that work here. And it's kind of funny. One of our most common warranties here in this shop is on cats, having injector problems on cats because the caps weren't tightened enough. it's a common problem that we have meetings about here because the guys are so scared to break one of the damn studs. They'll under tighten them. It happens all the time. It drives me up the wall, and I'll show her, I'll go tighten some up, and like you can tighten them, you can get them pretty tight without breaking them, but everybody here has broken a couple over the years. So one of our most common problems here is not tight enough injector caps because everybody's so scared to break the damn things. I mean, and even if you're using a torque wrench like you're supposed to, you're eventually gonna break one using a torque wrench. It's just everybody's always so nervous. I see Nathan Burling's in the comment section. Hey, buddy, it's good to see you here.
Yeah, good to see you,
Rob. Yeah, Nate, or at least you interact with him. He's up from where I'm from.
We've talked many times.
Yep, he's a cool cat. Rob McDowell's in the comment section. We got a full squad here. That's cool. So we are coming to the end of the show, but we have a lot of callers here. You good to stick around for a little bit, Tim? Let's see if we can burn through these callers at least.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, let's take some of these callers. Let's try and get through them at least here before we call it a night. Hello, you're on the air, brother.
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Good, man. What can we do for you?
Can you hear me? I just have questions. Where do I start? I have a lot of questions, but I'm only gonna give you like maybe 2, maybe 3. So anyway, cat. Right? I've been dealing with cats for a long time, for about 20 years. And the older generation taught me to do certain things that I don't want to.
Don't worry about offending me. Just say it.
That you say otherwise. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not attacking you. It's not an attacking question. It's a simple,
No, you're good.
Question, such as the heat, because I can understand driving temperature, but as far as even when you stop for the night or for the day, whatever, and leaving it, 5 minutes just to cool off, because supposedly the oil in the on the turbo for it to cool off and it won't cake up and whatever, and everything comes down to temperature, and then you turn it off. You know what I mean? And you press the clutch in to turn it on and turn it off. Same thing. But you say otherwise. You say
So my argument, let me respond to that. My argument there is that the time it takes you almost in all scenarios to come to a stop. The only scenario that I can think of where you would need to give it some time to cool down enough that you might do some damage to the turbo is if you had just pulled a massive hill. Like, I could just think of a scenario if I'm in Alaska and I'm pulling Adigan Pass and it's 4 miles to the top and it's 14% grade and I'm in the low side and I am working the living shit out of that engine, and I get to the top and my fan's just been getting it after it all the way to the top. I would probably be doing myself a disservice to come directly to the top and shut off the truck. That would probably be kind of stupid, right? But all other scenarios, right? Like if I'm pulling into a truck stop and I drive around and I find my parking spot and I get back in, I have already cooled it off. My engine temperature, my oil temperatures, my coolant temperatures, all of those temperatures are already at a degree where I'm not going to do any damage by turning it off. That's my argument. You're not sitting in the parking lot in the truck stop for 15 minutes chugging away did not do you any benefit at all.
All right. Another thing with the cat. lugging it. You know, I've always heard lugging a cat was like it's like a villain. It's like an enemy. You know, 12 and under. If you ride 12 and under, you bound to fry the head gasket. You say otherwise. You say you can lug it.
So you got to remember where these connotations come from. If you take a B model, and you got to remember all of the old timers, they know this. If you took a B model and you ran that thing at 1100 RPMs and you were pulling a good hill with it, by the time you got to the top, you'd melt those aluminum pistons right out of the bottom. Okay. It's kind of like guys telling you have to warm your truck up before you drive it. Well, that comes from the all of our grandpas and even our dads, if you're as old as Tim and I here, they all had carbureted engines. And if you didn't warm them up, they would die as soon as you tried to put them in drive and go. Right. But those things don't translate over. You can take an ACERT, you can pull an ACERT down to 1100 RPMs and hold that bitch there. 114,000 on a 12% grade, topping out at 1100 RPMs, and she will not melt. Ask me how I know. Right? It's not a B model. It's not your grandpa's engine. It has a twin turbo. It's able to stay that cool. I don't think I'd want to run a 6NZ and hold her at 1200 RPMs. But I would have no problem doing that, but I would be watching my pyro. And if I was watching my pyro and I was staying at 1000 to 1100 RPMs, and it behooved me to stay in that gear, to top out a mountain, I wouldn't think twice about it. Not one bit. I wouldn't think twice about it at all.
Okay, so that means, okay, you didn't go too much into depth, because these are two, whether people believe it or not, they are two different engines.
Mm-hmm.
One, I think the old 6NC made a top power, you know, and the Acer makes the bottom power. That's how come the crankshaft was changed. It's a little thicker, or whatever the case may be.
I've never been in a cat in my life, and I owned every engine from the B model. The only engine I didn't own was an MBN. I owned the NXS, the MXS, BXS, the 6NZ, the 2WS, the 1LW, the 6TS, the 5EK. I pretty much owned every engine cat made. I owned the B model. I owned a C model. And every one of those could be lugged down, and they pull. The farther you lug them down, the harder they pull. Their torque band is in the bottom. On a Cummins, it's the other way around. Your torque band is way up high. The higher you go, the more torque band you have. You lug a cat down to 1200, you'll pull this building off the foundation.
I was told different that this regular 6NZ makes a top end power, while the Acer makes the bottom, make its power from the bottom. So that's how come I guess you maybe could lug it. I understand, right? I mean, I have 6TSs, 5EKs.
Your ACERT is more capable of doing it because it has a low pressure turbo and it's able to keep the EGTs down. That's pretty much the only difference.
Okay, that's another thing, right? To keep your engine. Okay, you make your engines at 640. Right? That's the maximum you go, right?
Sometimes, yep.
Sometimes. All right, because originally they come 625. They just kind of choke them out at 475. That's the most you find. And I'm talking about 615s. I'm not really anything else.
But
So-
what's your question, brother? We do have quite a few people behind you, so we got to burn through the questions that you have. I'm not trying to push you or anything, but there is a lot of people.
I got you. Yeah, I kind of caught you a little late. All right, so at 640, so what kind of radiator do you run? Do you run a 5 or 6 line radiators that'll cool it off faster?
I do like 4-core radiators, but I've never required anybody to go to a 4-core radiator, or I wouldn't warranty my build, because if it's built right and it's doing what it's supposed to, the cooling package that they come with from the factory work just fine. That's been my experience. I've never had anybody have to go to a different cooling package for any engine I built to operate properly. Tim, what do you think about that?
I think you're right. The cooling packs that they come with, are designed, to keep them cool. So same thing here. The engines I build, I mean, one thing we do is make sure the radiator and cooling packs are clean, and we'll either do them here, or if there's really no history on it, or the guy doesn't know when his radiator was out last, or if it's a new purchase truck to him, we'll send it out to the local radiator shop. They'll make it clean. They'll clean them out, take them apart on the older ones, reseal them, vat them. So this way we make sure that that cooling pack is working to 100% capacity, like it's designed to do. And same thing, pressure test all the charge air cooler components, make sure they're working, so you're not going to, deal with heating issues that are caused from overfueling. But yeah, same thing here. I've never had to put a bigger radiator in just because we rebuilt the engine. I mean, there's almost all of them, we go through and either replace them or at least clean them to make sure they're working properly, so you don't have heating issues when the engine's rebuilt. And we've got some good hills over here, like on the way to Ray Mine. It's on one of the freeways just east of town here. It's some nice, good, long 10% grades, and you are working the dog shit out of everything when you're loaded 80,000 pounds and it's 118 degrees outside going out to the mine. So everything's got to be working efficiently.
Yep. Yeah, the only time I see the cooling package being an issue is if there's an issue with the cooling package. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
What else did you have for us, brother?
No, man, I'm gonna I'll go next week with the rest of the questions, because so that everybody else can get a chance to,
All right, sir. Well, I appreciate the call. That you had some good stuff. That was fun. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Yes, sir. Bye. All right. We still have 5 callers. Anybody that calls after this, I'm not going to take your call. We don't want to keep Tim too long. He signed up for 2 hours, so we're already taking him past that. You're on the air. What can we do for you, brother?
Aaron, hey, Tim. Love you guys' show. Keep up the good work. Just had a quick question. I've had my oil change done by 3 different shops, and I've called Cat. I have a C15, and it requires 40 quarts of oil, but the shop can only get in like 36 or 34 before it hits the full mark on the dipstick. So I'm kind of confused on something's going on here, right?
First of all, if you look in Cat manuals, and maybe Tim or somebody else knows something I don't, but the Cat manuals, they all say in there on a new engine that it doesn't say anywhere that they take 40 quarts of oil. It says it's going to take exactly how much that engine takes, and you're supposed to test it and see how much that engine takes. I owned a Cat that would you couldn't put more than 10 gallons in it, and I owned one that took 11 gallons, and all the rest of them, or no, 9. Sorry, I owned a Cat that would only take 9 gallons, and I had one that would only take 8.5, and all the rest of them took 10. 95% of the time, they're all going to take 10 on your Cats, but it is not a rule that they all take 10 gallons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, make sure that's
right. Another quick question.
Hang on there. What was that, Tim?
Also, make sure it has the right dipstick in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made sure because I was almost thinking of changing the pan out and like just throwing almost money to the wind with this thing,
And you're talking.
Another quick question is
you're talking about a variable there that's not that large anyhow. But I would.
Okay.
This call will be recorded.
My advice would be to follow the dipstick rather than.
This call is no longer being recorded.
That's not me doing that, but
okay. That's my phone. I face hit it.
My advice would be to follow the dipstick, not to follow what you think it might be supposed to be holding, because that's what the manual is going to tell you. Just
okay. Try to make this one quick. So when my cat was deleted, it was deleted by a dyno when they put the tunes on. How do I save those files? Like if something were to happen to my ECM and I could just have those files, do I have to like flash it?
Wait, see if Tim says anything. Tim's like, I'm not messing with anybody's file.
I guess is there any way I could save it?
The people
from what's on it now.
So you're gonna change your file and you want to save the old one?
Yeah, like if something were to happen to the ECM, like if I needed a new one, like how do I save the file that's on it now to transfer over to that new one?
Yeah, that's
there can't you?
That would be between you and the guy doing the tune, man.
Okay. All right.
All right, brother.
All right. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Didn't I say there's 5 callers? Now there's 5 again. People keep calling. Hello. Hello. Hello, you're on the air, brother. All right. Well, we lost one. Hello, you're on the air. Hello. Did you fall asleep on us? We can hear your GPS. Alex.
Hello, you talking? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. My GPS. Thanks for taking my call. I got a question about an X15 that we have in the shop now. It's got low fuel rail pressure. They changed the fuel filters. They've changed the valve on the rail. They've changed the sensor on the rail. They checked the pump and they checked the turbo and the injectors, and it dies under a load. As soon as you get on it, it idles fine, but as soon as you get on it, it dies.
Have they checked your pump out at all, or what kind of fuel pressure readings are you getting?
29,000 on the pump, and it's holding the pressure. That's what they told me. That the high pressure pump. That's what they told me. It's holding 29,000 for a good time. So they said the pump is not the problem.
Well, one thing I do, and I've run across this quite a bit, is those fuel tubes that go into the head. A lot of times they're either not torqued properly or they're loose in there, and they'll cause that engine to do all kinds of weird stuff. So I'd recommend pull those fuel lines off your common rail, retorque those jam nuts in there, and then take it for a ride and see what it does. I've had those things make those Cummins act.
Okay. Could the ECM do that also, or?
I'd look more towards a fuel system issue. I mean, does your engine just shut off and die, or do you just lose power?
No, it just under a load when you get it idles fine. When you get on it, it runs for a mile down the road and it dies. It got towed back in. It's one of our trucks. It got towed back into the shop. It's in the shop in Fontana right now.
I'd look at those tubes first because they're a culprit that's really often overlooked. So, what do you think, Aaron?
I think that I don't do a lot of the common rail stuff. I mean, my shop does, but my nephew and a guy named Brian deal with all that common rail stuff, and I'm waiting for you to help this guy.
Yeah, I try those tubes first, and if that doesn't really do anything, or if they're all nice and tight to spec where they're supposed to be, pull the head off the pump and actually verify that both plungers are working. Make sure when you test them, they're springing back the way they're supposed to. So it's going to be in your fuel system somewhere, either the pump or an injector or those tubes, the quill tubes on the side. I've seen those things they've caused a lot of grief and aggravation over the years. So that's where I'd look first before going too far into it. Simple stuff.
Okay. I'll appreciate that. And thanks for taking the call again.
Yes, sir.
I'll check that.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, you're on the air. Hello.
I got a C13 question. KCB, we got like 6 of them. I got one that's got a new motor in it. We bought it from some hack shop to keep 2 warranty claims on it, whatever. Keeps eating pre-coolers. Have you had a problem with cat pre-coolers before?
Define eating pre-coolers.
It destroyed coolant in the intake. 2 of them now.
Your intake.
No turbos came apart.
Your intake temps are getting way too hot.
Due to?
I don't know. But that's
me neither.
If you're taking out multiple pre-coolers, that's an intake temp problem. It's getting so freaking hot, it's cracking it out.
I mean, brand new air cleaner. Turbos look nice. The truck doesn't smoke.
Have you tested the charge air cooler?
I have not tested it, but makes good boost, makes good power for a C13, I guess. But
yeah, define good power.
On the C13, it's hard to, but
well, I mean, let me just be more blunt. Do you have a tune on it?
No.
Okay, so it's
intake actuators are still there. Yep.
Does it still have the stock exhaust?
Mufflers, yes.
Okay, so those mufflers on that thing are actually what's the word I'm looking for here? They are
plugged.
Well, yeah, that's the problem because they're catalytic converters is what they are. And they plug up and you're not moving the air. You're getting plenty of boost, but you're not moving the air, and so that your intake air is getting hotter than shit.
Yeah.
I
guess we'll start there.
The mufflers are actually catalytic converters on that.
Well, it's early KCB. It's early C13. It's KCB.
It still has those.
Okay. Another question. Head bolts.
Yep.
Oh.
Head bolts what?
Putting bolting heads on. Is it required to torque them, take them back loose, and torque them again? Yeah. Like cat supposed to do? Okay. What's the theory behind that?
Tim,
What? I didn't hear what he said.
what's the reason for doing that?
Well, besides it says it in the book, I think you have to do it on the C10s and C12s also. They want you to torque them, loosen them down, and torque it. I think it has to do with it being an MLS gasket. They want you to get good crush on it.
Those are metal gaskets.
13 here on the build stand right now that I'm getting ready to send the block out to be decked. And yeah, they want you to do it. And if you don't do it, they will leak. Ask me how I know this. I thought, we didn't need to one time, and guess we got to do a head gasket again. So
yeah, we're doing
I do it every time too. I just am I wasting my time? Some guys say you're supposed to wait overnight on the big cats and the free torque, and I don't do that. But
I mean, Cat's new spec for regular head gasket on a C15 has changed to that as well. And not to take anything away from what Tim said, but I think it has more. I think it has everything to do with torque to yielding. But I don't have this magical answer. But you only see that when you're doing a torque to yield, where they want you to look it back up again. And
isn't a torque to yield bolt only supposed to be used one time?
No, that's not. I mean, Cummins, you reuse them all the time. There's a spec for all that kind of stuff. Some engines, yes. Some engines, it's a one-time use. But there's several engines out there that are torque to yield that you a lot of Cummins kits come with a go no go gauge to just quickly check your head bolts. And Cat's going to have a spec for all their head bolts for stretch. I reused Cat bolts up to at least 4 times before I decided to throw them away.
Sure. Just by measuring the length and stretching them.
Yep. But
Gotcha.
But I think that's what you're doing when you're torque to yielding is you are making sure that everything is that you're not hanging up on anything.
Crushing the gasket and then crushing it again.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll put some straight pipes on it.
Well, I'm not suggesting that, but that would cure your problem.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Later.
Bye. What's this guy saying? Yeah, you can't hear the callers on TikTok. That's true. You can only hear the callers if you're on Facebook or YouTube. All right, you're on the air. For some reason, it's not showing me anybody's names tonight. You're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, how's it going? I had a question. So I'm not sure if you have any knowledge on Volvo engines.
No, that's down Tim's alley there.
Not really. We've done a little bit here and there, but it's really not our forte.
I was teasing you, but go ahead.
Yeah.
But they all operate on the same principles. So what do you got?
Okay, so I bought this truck about almost a year ago, and when I bought it, it was already deleted. I had someone run a diagnostics before I bought it. They said everything was fine. They said the program on it for the delete was good. But now I'm having some misfires on the truck when I turn it on. Happens randomly. The truck just starts shaking more than usual, then just a bunch of black smoke starts coming out. When I try to accelerate, nothing happens. So I try to shut it off and turn it back on, and if it happens again, I just do it again until it just starts up normal. And I feel like I'm wasting more fuel than usual, and I don't have too much power. I have power on the truck, but it's not too much power. I'm not sure if you know what's going on with it.
Well, it sounds like it's overfueling for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Cause
is it deleted?
Yeah, it's deleted.
Yeah, it has something to do with that delete. Because you're not like getting white smoke or anything like that. You're getting black smoke, and if you could turn it off, turn it back on, and turn it off and turn it back on, the problem goes away. You're not dealing with a mechanical problem, because mechanical problems, it wouldn't go away. It's going to happen. It's going to stay there, right?
Yeah.
A couple suggestions from the comments for the EGR valve sticking, stuck injector solenoid. Some guy says the cups are leaking and putting air into the head. I don't probably agree with that one, because you're getting black smoke. You're not getting white smoke or gray smoke. It has something to do with that tuning that was put on there, I'm guessing.
Okay, so would you suggest that I would take it somewhere to have them tune it again, I guess?
Well, I can't make suggestions like that, right? But I would probably do something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because when I'm hauling loads or whatever, black smoke comes out. No white smoke, no nothing. When I turn it on and it turns on normally, it's the engine's in pretty much good rhythm, you know.
There's a guy in here in the comment section insisting that its cups are leaking and putting air into the head. And it might be that, but it doesn't sound like that to me. One of the main reasons is that you can get the problem to go away by turning the truck off and turning it back on. If you have injector cups that are leaking into the head and causing all these aeration problems, the problem's not going to go away because you decided to turn the truck on and off a few times.
Yeah.
But anyway, brother, I would look hard at that tuning, see what you can figure out there.
Yeah, I think the first problem was buying a Volvo.
Well, not going to get much argument here.
Yeah. All right, brother. Have a good one. I appreciate the help.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. We have lots more callers, but we're not going to take any of you guys. I'm sorry about that. We got one more caller on here we're going to take. He's been on hold for almost half an hour. Everybody else is under a minute. We got to let Tim have his night. We're way past the show. Just to let you guys know, I've been dropping anybody that's called in. It's not to be rude. It's we're already half an hour past the end of the show. Arthur, you're on the show, brother.
Yes, sir. Just so you know, too, when you call in, it's not asking you to recite your name either. I know you said it's not showing names, but it's not asking you your name either before you start.
Oh, well, I have settings where I can set it where it tells me your name anyway. It just uses the carrier to look you up.
Okay. All right. I got a friend with he has a 475, I believe it's 475 6NZ. The truck runs great. He has some coolant coming from the reservoir and coolant coming out of the turbo as well when you take the hot side off of the turbo. It doesn't have much blow by. It has some blow by, so it's not terrible. Oil is mixing with the coolant, so it does sound like a head gasket, at least to me, but the truck seems to run fine. There's no knocking or tapping and no loss of power. There's, I know you can't say etched and still without ripping it open, but that sound more like just a head gasket or a rebuild in your opinion.
Come on, Tim. We got to get one more out of you before you go.
All right. Well, if he's getting cross-contamination fluids and pressurizing the cooling system, I'd pull that cylinder head off for sure. Take a look at that. Got to know some history on the other components as well, like how old's the oil cooler, what's the abuse history in the engine, how hot has it gotten. There's a lot of factors, but I'd recommend pull the head off first and start inspecting.
What are we mixing, or which way are we going? I didn't catch it.
He said coolant in the oil.
So, oil and yeah.
You're putting coolant in the oil or oil in the coolant?
There's coolant in the oil, and there is coolant coming out of the turbo on the hot side. If you take the hot side off the turbo, the flex pipe, it's wet. It's coolant. I believe it's coolant out there.
Okay.
It sounds like she's a good candidate for some major surgery.
So, here's one thing, and this has just been my experience. Oil cooler problems, okay? Because a lot of guys are always going to default, could be the oil cooler. Your oil runs at a very high pressure, and your coolant runs at a very low pressure. And if you're putting coolant in your oil, it's not coming from the oil cooler, just because of that fact right there. If you're putting oil in your coolant, then you might want to look at the oil cooler, but you're not going to push 10 psi into 60 psi and force oil or coolant through the oil cooler down into the oil pan. And that's my opinion. You can rule out the oil cooler as being the problem. The comment section's saying oil cooler. I don't agree with that assessment for that reason. Usually when you're putting coolant in your oil like that, you're dealing with a liner issue. Now, I agree, you're going to have to take this head off. I seriously doubt that you have coolant going into your exhaust system just because it's wet. You would know for a fact it was coolant if you were getting coolant in there. The coolant is not going to dissipate at all. It's not going to be wet. You're going to see standing coolant droplets in your exhaust system, and you wouldn't be telling me I believe it's coolant. You'd be telling me I know it's coolant. It's most likely unburnt diesel fuel is what you're seeing there. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
What I would do first, because you want to make sure that you're not just swapping ahead, drop the oil pan just the way it sits right now. Drop the oil pan, pressure up the cooling system, and get under there with a flashlight and see if you're dripping from any of those liners, which you most likely are. I just about guarantee it. That way you know, and if you're not, then your head has been majorly compromised and is causing a number. And you can just change that head, but you need to make sure you're not chasing a liner first. And there's a 90% chance it's actually a liner's leaking. You know, and that head's got to come off for sure, no matter what. But you want to make sure that you know in advance that I got to go ahead and pull these liners and I'm dealing with a lower issue of some kind.
Yeah.
All right, and it is pushing out of the reservoir too. The breather on the reservoir, it is pushing coolant out of there as well.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, if you watch my last update, which I posted 30 minutes before this show started, we have 2 trucks in here that were running coolant in the oil, and they got driven for way too long, and it destroyed the cranks. You got to remember that you can use water to cut rock, steel. You put water under pressure, you can use it to pretty much slice through anything. It's pretty resilient. So you take coolant and you put it through your bearings. It will actually leave grooves in the bearing, and I'm not talking like cut grooves. You can rub your finger down, it feels like the ocean. It's like lumpy, and that's because coolant has ridden around on the on the crankshaft, and it will actually wear into the crankshaft. So it's not something you want to mess around with. Hopefully you don't have to change a crank over this.
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that. The last question I have is, when you guys coat your product, excuse my ignorance, when you coat it, is there any wearing of the coating that can come off in the oil pan, or or does it wear off, in other words, after time, and it ends up in the oil, or anything like, or chip off, I should say, one or the other?
So we haven't seen it where it ever chips, and wear has always been incredibly minimal. That's why I'm such a believer in it. But you're talking about, you have to remember something here, guys. Your piston crowns that you currently buy, your bearings that you currently buy, they all have a factory coating on them. When I'm coating bearings or piston crowns, I take those factory coatings off. I have to use aluminum oxide under high pressure to get the coatings off of the piston crowns. On your bearings, I have to use 1,000 grit sponges and some good old elbow grease to get the factory coatings off of those. So it's absolutely no different as far as whether the coatings started to wear and go into the oil. It's not going to affect it any differently than what comes factory. So There's a lot of prep time. 99% of the prep time that goes into the coatings that we do involves taking off the factory coatings.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your help. I appreciate you taking the call. You guys have a good night.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right.
All right, Tim, that's our last caller. Man, a good show. I really appreciate having you on here. Taking
Yeah, I
the
had a
time.
good time tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, let's see. If there's any question or any comments you wanted to answer, now would be a good time before we wrap it up.
No, I think we're good here.
Yeah, one guy asked way back, and I said I'd answer his question. Does Tim have a page? Yes, Tim is on TikTok and he's on Facebook. Tim, you want to shout out your pages here for these guys?
Sure, absolutely. On TikTok, it's at Excalibur.equipment. On Facebook, it's my name, just Timothy Zabenko, and it's a hard one. The last name is DZBANKO, and profile picture on there it's the same one that's on the background of the shop here. It's me standing in front of my Peterbilt, and on Instagram, it's truckdoc_HR97. So those are the 3 platforms I'm on pretty regularly.
Oh, I was going to ask you something. It just slipped my mind. I was listening to you. Damn it! Can someone write those usernames out? Hey, Tim, do you want to? I mean, you see the comment section, correct?
I do. Yeah.
You want to type
right now?
Yeah. Type those usernames out for these guys if you don't mind. A guy asked a little while ago about the coatings. What does it entail to do the coatings? The biggest challenge with doing the coatings that we have found is just really getting in there and removing the factory coatings and giving ourselves a nice substrate to be able to apply the coatings that we put on. Yeah, that's been the biggest key. We went through probably 4 or 5 kits trying to perfect it. Cost me a little bit of money in practicing, but that's okay. We even had to take some coatings off of pistons and redo them again, and this and that. We took some coatings off of bearings and redid them, trying to get it dialed in. But the people that we get our products from, they spent quite a bit of time helping me, walking me through it, and we got it dialed in now. A lot of industrial solvents are being used. It's pretty toxic shit. We're wearing quite a bit of safety gear when we're doing the coatings. That's been the biggest worry for me is the coatings. They come with, I mean, like one of the warnings on there is if you're pregnant, don't even get anywhere near it because it will basically kill your baby. It's pretty toxic stuff, but it's been pretty fun experience. I got inspired because of the kits that we're having made for us right now. They're all getting coated, and I went and saw all their processes, and I realized, man, this is something that I could do myself on a smaller scale. And it, and the coatings to me is where it's at. It's where the future of all this is at, and we've seen in real time how it works. So we just invested a whole lot of money in being able to do it, and I've already went through a bunch of trial and error. And you can see if you watch my videos, we've been kicking them out like crazy. We already have about 40 engines running around with our coated kits, so I'm pretty excited about it. But anyway, guys, that's the last question I'm going to answer. Tim, did you have anything else, or are you ready to get out of here?
No, I think I'm good, Aaron.
Guys, bring your pregnant exes to Aaron's shop. Oh, that's funny. All right, guys, you guys have a good night. We appreciate you, Tim. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And it's always a good time. I really enjoy watching your stuff. You and I've talked many times on the phone. I always enjoy our phone calls. I knew it was going to be a good time having you here. Maybe we'll see if you want to do it again in the future. Thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable, and I appreciate you giving it to everybody, and I know everyone else appreciates it as well.
Thank you.
All right, that's a wrap. Have a good night, Tim. I'll talk to you soon. And if you guys don't know, that kit in the background there in Tim's background, he's doing that kit for me. He's balancing it. Pretty excited about it. I hope he makes a few videos. And then we're going to take that kit and we're going to coat it and we're going to build a special engine out of it. It's going to have a little bit of Tim and a little bit of me in it. It's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to you making some videos on that, Tim. I appreciate you taking that job on for us. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.